Hi, my name is Dr. Koheli, and today we're going to be talking about something absolutely trending, that is biohacking. So, what is biohacking? Why do we need to biohack our bodies when it is so intelligent, when our bodies are so intelligent? How does the body react to biohacking and how can we biohack? And finally, what should we be biohacking in our bodies? So, let's begin with what is biohacking. Before I tell you what is biohacking, let's just go over what is hacking. Now you have a computer, right? Now in a computer, if you want to invade into the computer and start a different software or start a different program, that is what a hacker does. A good hacker does not need to know every part of the computer. Also, a good hacker may not necessarily be an engineer. Now, this is really important to know that a good hacker is not necessarily an engineer, and the same way an engineer who knows how to build a computer and how to build software may not necessarily be a good hacker. I think all of us know that not all engineers are great hackers, computer hackers, right? So that is the same way that a good doctor who knows everything about how the human body works may not necessarily be a great biohacker, and not all amazing biohackers are actually doctors of medicine. So now that we understand what is hacking, so hacking is basically entering something and changing a program so that now you can run your own program. Okay. Now the next thing comes up. Why would we want to change our bodies? Why would we want to change any program that is running in our body? Our body is essentially amazing. It's been made by God. It's been made by nature. It's absolutely perfect. Why would I want to meddle with something that is already amazing? Now there are a few things. Now the first thing is there were certain programs or habits that we used to do that were great and amazing, that the computer, our body, was already running and we've forgotten about them. And so now when we bring them back, that is a type of biohacking. For example, spending more time out in the sun. Now you may think, I already spend a lot of time out in the sun, but we don't. We actually don't. So spending 2 hours outdoors or spending the first half an hour of each day outdoors is an amazing biohack. It affects our hormones, it affects our moods, it affects our neuromodulators, it affects so many things in our body, and it reprograms so many things in our body. And so a simple act of getting more sunlight in your day is an amazing biohack. Now, this is something that we should have been doing for many years, but we've forgotten. So, reintroducing things that were excellent, like walking barefoot on earth, earthing. Now, earthing has been part of our human habits for a very long time, but we've forgotten that. We wear shoes in our house, we wear shoes outdoors, and we rarely walk barefoot on earth, like on sand or grass, and that was amazing. So earthing is also an amazing type of biohack. So that's one of the reasons that we want to bring back things that were already in our program. That is a type of biohacking. The second thing is there were many things that we were doing previously, but the world around us is changing. Okay, so if we don't upgrade our habits, if we don't upgrade our habits to biohacked habits, then we are still stuck in a Nokia kind of phone. So if we go back to the analogy of using a computer or a electronic device, it's as if saying, oh, the Nokia phone was amazing and it still works brilliantly. Why do I need a iPhone 14 Pro, this, that and all? That's because back then apps did not exist. And now we need apps, because if we have apps, our life is simpler, faster, more efficient. And that is why we need biohacks in our own bodies, to make our lives simpler, faster, more effective, and really tuned in for today's intense lifestyle. So those are other reasons why you would want to learn biohacking. Other things are, there were certain things that, with aging, it comes into us. We might have been absolutely running at a really good thing, working very well, like a really new car. A new car is absolutely perfect, it's running at the perfect speed. But with overuse, with using every single day, be it your phone, be it any device, with time, there is a decline, right? So you need to service your car. Don't you need to service your car? Don't you need to recharge your phone every day? Don't you need to use a cleaner device to remove gadgets which are not working? Don't you need to run a virus protection thing? So all these things that we run, that we do in our electronic gadgets, we need to be doing on a daily basis with ourselves as well, so that we are running at the same efficiency that we were running maybe 10 years back, maybe even more efficient, because as we age, we're going to see that decline. So biohacking helps us to reduce the rate at which our body is declining. So these are certain reasons why you would want to biohack an amazing body which is already there, a mind which is already amazing. Now the next thing comes is like, wow, great. Now, how does biohacking work? In the beginning, we thought that the only way to biohack our bodies was the way we biohack the computer. How is a computer hacked? You know the code, you need to know the code of the computer, and then you find a link of the code and you change that code, and that is how you hack into a computer. So that is what most scientists thought that they have to do. So that is why we had the Human Genome Project, which started in October 1990 and went on till April 2003. So that in itself, like, it finished, the Human Genome Project finished. Now we are in 2022. So this has already happened like almost 11 years back, right? Is it 11? Anyhow, so 2003 was the last time, 19 years I think. My maths is all over the place. So anyhow, it's been quite a long time. So from 1990 to 2003, 13 years they spent decoding the human genome, and now that they have the whole code, they were like, wow, now we are going to splice into this gene and we are going to change things, and we're going to cure cancer, we are going to cure mental diseases, we are going to cure chronic diseases, and we are going to change everything, is what was promised with the Human Genome Project. But that didn't happen. Why didn't it happen? The reason is epigenetics. So what is epigenetics? Every single cell in the human body has the same gene, has the same code. So your skin cells have the same genetic code. Your brain cell has the same genetic code. Your heart muscles have the same genetic code. Then how is it that your skin cell is so different from your brain cell, is so different from your heart cell? The answer to that is epigenetics. The epigenetics are things that are sitting on top of your genes, and they help you read your genes. So there are certain things that your heart muscle is reading, certain proteins that are read by the heart muscle, and there are certain proteins that are read by the brain muscle. And even when they have the same human genome, they have the same genes, they are totally different, completely different. They are doing completely different things. And so they realized that the answer didn't lie in changing the genes of the Human Genome Project. Because even if you change the genes, they may not be read. You may finally end up with a skin cell. The real answer would be epigenetics. How do we activate the epigenetics in a human being? And fortunately for us, you don't need to use a splicer, you don't need to enter the body and activate these epigenetics. The epigenetics are activated by the environment. What do I mean by the environment? How can you activate these epigenetics? So the activation of epigenetics of your epigenes is essentially biohacking. So there are three ways that the epigenes work. One is by DNA methylation. That is when the DNA is methylated, like when they attach a methyl bond to the DNA is turned off, switched off. So demethylation of DNA is going to activate the DNA, is going to keep you naturally younger, maybe make your brain cells work the way they are working. With aging, there is a lot of methylation that happens, DNA methylation which happens. With inflammation, a lot of DNA methylation happens. With diabetes, a lot of DNA methylation happens. And so turning on these DNAs by demethylating them is a way of hacking into your system, right? The next is histone modification. There are histones which are proteins, and if a DNA gets wrapped around a histone, then that doesn't get read. That DNA doesn't get read and less proteins are formed. And this is another way of activating your epigenes. The third way is non-coding mRNAs, non-coding RNAs, that again stop certain proteins from being activated. So there are certain parts of your body that you want your activation to be high. That means in your brain you would want the activation to be high. In your skin cells, in your heart cells, you would want them to be active. In your bones, maybe you want them to be active to make them strong. In your gut lining, you want them to be active so that you have good gut health. But there might be certain areas where you want less of the proteins, like say in certain cancers you would want it to be less. In certain diseases where there is a lot of protein formation, you would want it to be less. There are certain diseases which are forming too many hormones or too many products in the body, like too many immunity building. So you might have autoimmune diseases. In those conditions you may want the proteins to be formed less, right? So this turning on and turning off is what epigenetics is all about. So now we go on to the next thing, is that now we've understood how biohacking works. What would you want to biohack? Like you're like, wow, so I can change my entire self. I can change my immunity. I can change my brain. I can change, maybe I can reverse my diabetes. Maybe I can reverse my cancer. Maybe I can reverse this chronic disease that I have had, like maybe chronic myalgia or, certain Alzheimer's, so many things. And I can change it without needing to go in, cut out a part of my DNA or do something really expensive. Like, how is that possible? What are the things that you can do to biohack yourself? So I'm going to share some really famous biohackers and what they are doing. So one of them is Joe Dispenza, and he's written the book Being Supernatural, The Placebo in You, and how he does biohacking is by changing your thoughts. The way he says, and he talks about all of this, he talks about epigenetics, he talks about vibrations, he talks about how your thoughts release certain proteins. Imagine the thought right now you have is that, my God, he loves me. He loves me so much. All of a sudden you have this increase in oxytocin. All of a sudden you have this increase in happy hormones. All of a sudden you have this dopamine high. All of a sudden you have more energy in your body. So these are proteins. These are proteins that are all of a sudden released. This is ATP that is all of a sudden activated by a simple thought, my God, he loves me. Say you have a thought, oh my God, everyone hates me. Everyone is against me. Everyone is angry with me. These kind of shaming thoughts, and the thought is so real for you that, oh my God, this is happening. All of a sudden there's an increase in cortisol. Cortisol is a type of protein, is a type of hormone. Hormones are all proteins. All of a sudden you break into a sweat. All of a sudden you have a difficulty breathing. And these are real physical things that happen to you because you had a thought. So the way he says is that if you change a lot of your thoughts, you can biohack into your body. So he is a big biohacker. There are biohackers like Andrew Huberman. and his podcast Huberman Lab, where he talks about so many biohacking techniques, especially neuromodulators. And he especially talks about how to wake up early, how to get more sunlight in your day, how to eat certain foods which will activate you, how to improve your gut health, how to especially use light to hack into your body, how to use cold exposure. So I have an entire post on how cold exposure changes your body, how heat and cold will affect your body, how red light will affect your biohacking skills, how it can reverse everything from depression to diabetes. So these are all biohackers and biohacking techniques that you can learn at Huberman Lab. Then there are people who work especially on the aging hormones, like David Sinclair and his book Lifespan. It talks about how we can hack into the aging things of mTOR, sirtuin and AMPK pathways by either things that he says like intermittent fasting, or eating a low protein diet, or taking certain sugar reducing supplements at night, or taking certain supplements which increase NAD in your body. So these are all different kinds of biohacks that you can use. Not everything is extremely difficult, but simple biohacks that can truly change the way you are functioning and change the way your programs run inside your body. So that is what biohacking is all about. If you want to learn more, I have about 100 biohacks that I have taken from all of these amazing teachers, and which I personally think which have actually changed a lot of the lives of my clients, as well as my own life, as well as the life of my parents and people around me. So the 3 things that I would like to biohack into, which I feel will change everything, is: the first is biohacking your gut health. The second is biohacking your nervous system regulation. And the third thing is biohacking your sleep. Why would you want to biohack your gut health? Because your gut is where 90% of your immunity is built. If we can hack into the gut health, we can increase our immunity, we can reduce our autoimmune diseases, our allergies, we can reduce or reprogram things like diabetes, we can reprogram our hormones. 90% of the hormones are made in the gut. So we can change a lot of things by just changing the program of the gut health. The second thing which I love to biohack is our nervous system regulation. As Dr. Joe Dispenza said, that if we can change the way we think, the way our body reacts to stress is always going to be there. And a lot of people thought that the best way is to lead a stress-free life. But then if we lead a stress-free life, we don't have any growth, because now we have found out that the epigenetics actually get activated when we stress our body a little, when we don't eat. Intermittent fasting is a type of stress. A cold shower is a type of stress. So many things that we do for our bodybuilding is a type of stress. So all of these are epigenetic environments. When you stress yourself by doing more workout, you're going to build your muscle. That is an epigenetic factor. When you intermittent fast, you are going to activate certain mitochondrial changes. That is an epigenetic thing. So stress is not bad, but how do we prepare our body for stress is what nervous system regulation is all about. So hacking into that is going to change the way we handle stress, and is going to allow us to activate more of these epigenes in our brain, in our mind, and in the way we function. And the third way that you would want to biohack is biohacking your sleep, because when you are sleeping is when your body is recovering. And if you biohack your sleep, then you are basically helping your body repair faster, more efficiently, and being able to repair things that earlier we were not being able to repair. And also reversing aging, reversing the slowing down, the slower rate of aging and anti-aging, and so much that it comes with. So these are the three things that I love, biohacking with my workshop Ready to Realign, and it is a 6-week workshop. We have so many biohacks, be it the way you chew your food, when should you be walking, what should you be eating, what exercises should you be doing, what kind of breathing exercises are going to change the way your body reacts to cold, and how cold exposure is good, and 20 different ways that you can biohack your sleep, and so much more. So if you are interested, you can always join Ready to Realign workshop. The next batch is starting in November 2022. That is going to be the last batch for this year. And DM me at multidimensionalmom@gmail.com. Send me a mail and I'll share more on this. There are a lot of posts around this on my Instagram page, Multidimensional Mom, and I shall see you there.